You are Locked On 76ers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This right here is Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On 76ers Postcast. Pathetic is the only word that really comes to mind. I mean, we could talk about ugly. I think I even used that in our graphic tonight. I did. An absolutely pathetic loss by your 76ers, by our 76ers tonight. And maybe you've heard me say this before. I feel like I've said this a bunch. I know I've said it for as long as I've been talking into a microphone for a living, which is coming up on 20 years. Good Lord. Numbers never lie, but they sure as hell can deceive. And when I was watching Joel Embiid play basketball tonight, I went, this is a terrible, terrible effort. I'm watching a guy of his caliber, and I have defended Joel Embiid more than most. So this isn't a Joel Embiid hater sticking his chest out, being like, told you so. Like, I love Joel. Joel Embiid, the way to sum up Joel Embiid for me is, I don't know if I've had more fun. Like, Allen Iverson for me was my guy growing up, loved AI, but loved watching Allen Iverson play. I was a little young for Barkley's time in Philadelphia, but loved watching Allen Iverson. I absolutely love watching Joel Embiid. I don't know if there's been a player I haven't liked following more than Joel Embiid. Like, I hate following the career path of Joel Embiid, but love watching him play. Like, I love when he's actually out there doing his thing, but everything else is like, okay, we got to deal with the injuries. I got to be questioning this guy's effort. I need Tyrese Maxey to call him out to show up for team events. And then tonight, after the Sixers get pounded 139-105, I got to watch Joel Embiid go over to Steph Curry, who had a historic night, and be like, great game, man. That's great how you kicked our ass. Good times. Great to see you. So glad we can win that gold medal together. I'm not one to cry over players exchanging jerseys after games or usually yucking it up with an opponent. Like in a 1 or 2 point loss or a close game or a hard fought game. Like, I get it. These guys are all friends, and yeah, they've won a gold medal together. But when you're losing a game by 20, 21, 25, 30, 34 points, that's not really the time to be like, great to see you. Like, I don't need to see you happy in that moment when I'm miserable as a fan watching these games. I don't need it. And tonight was another example of that, unfortunately. And I'm watching Joel Embiid throughout this game, and I'm watching him start. I think it was Reggie Miller at one point during the game referenced, he's up on 20 points. I was like, he's got 20 points already? It was early in the third quarter because he had 13 in the first half. Then he had 15 in the third quarter. I was like, damn, he's at 20 already? Oh, wow. I was like, watch his stat sheet actually show up pretty stacked. And Joel Embiid tonight, 28 points in 31 minutes. 14 rebounds, those numbers, this is what I always say, numbers never lie, but they sure as hell can deceive. If you watch this, if you look at that box score, you're going to go, wow, Joel Embiid, man, in the game where the Sixers got blown out, Joel Embiid wasn't the problem. Like, if you didn't watch this game tonight and you just, it's a 10 o'clock game, I'll catch the highlights tomorrow. The highlights are going to be all about Steph Curry and what he did, 8 for 8 from beyond the arc. He's never done that where he didn't miss. It's actually the second most in NBA history, most shots without missing from 3, and he was 8 for 8 tonight. We'll get into that more in a second. But if you're just looking at the box score after the game, you're like, I'll catch the highlights tomorrow. You're going to see Steph Curry. You're going to see Joel Embiid a little bit, but you won't notice the fact that Joel Embiid in the first quarter and second quarter of this game today, when the Sixers really needed him, like before the game got drastically out of hand, he wasn't there. We'll get into more specifics in a second. But first, I have to tell you, this is Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On 76ers Postcast. My name is Mark Farzetta. Hey, don't forget about the new newsletter from Locked On 76ers Daily. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. I got you covered for all your 76ers postcast needs, as well as your Phillies postcast needs when the season gets back underway for your fighting Phils. And Harry Mays and Jason Martinez have you covered right here on Locked On Sports Philadelphia for your Locked On Eagles postcasts. So make sure you check those out as well. 3 big things. Number 1, Joel Embiid again in the hollow numbers. Numbers never lie, but they sure as hell can deceive, and they deceived in this game tonight. Why is it I'm watching Joel Embiid attempt in this basketball game to back down Draymond Green? Why am I watching him attempt to back down Draymond Green a couple of different times in this game, yet he is trying to put spin cycles, power pivots, 3-point shots, elbow jumpers? Why is he trying to do that with Jackson Davis in tonight's game? Why is he trying to be physical with Draymond Green, a guy who can be physical, and trying to be finesse with a guy he can be physical against in Jackson Davis? Why am I watching that happen? Trace Jackson Davis, 6'8", 6'9", younger player. Joel Embiid can have a field day with him, taking him down to the block. And I'm watching this game, and I am screaming this at the television in the first quarter. I'm screaming this at the television in the second quarter. And then I watch Shaquille O'Neal take the microphone at halftime, and he's like, the 76ers. And I was like, here it comes. Here it comes. I was expecting just an overall rip of Joel Embiid, and boy, did I get it. But I wasn't expecting Shaquille O'Neal to say the exact same thing that I'm yelling at my TV while I'm watching the game, which is, why isn't he being more physical? Why does he? And this has been one of Shaq's points throughout Joel Embiid's career. Why are you allowing a player? Why are you relieving a player? Like if you're playing defense on Joel Embiid, you're relieved when he takes an outside shot. And if you're Trace Jackson Davis tonight, every time you got Joel Embiid to pull up from the elbow, the foul line for a 3, or try to do the 3 different pivots he had late in the second quarter, as opposed to just going up and strong and trying to slam it home, why you're feeling relieved. Every time Joel Embiid decides to downshift and try to hit a bucket from the outside, you're like, oh, all right, let me off the hook. Thank you, Joe. Much appreciated. And then in the second quarter, when there was that little back and forth with him and Draymond Green, tries to bowl him over, going to the hoop, as opposed to trying to go around him, which is finesse. He can do that. But instead got called for the offensive foul. Why am I watching him try to play soft against a player he could dominate physically and try to play tough against a player that can out-tough him like Draymond Green? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. So you see him come out in the third quarter, and this is where the game started to get really out of hand. And that's when he drops 15 points. That's when he gets to 28 points on the night, 14 rebounds overall. And Reggie Miller during the game was just letting Joel Embiid have it in the early goings of the third quarter. So they go into the halftime break, and Shaq's ripping Joel Embiid to the nation on TNT. Then they go early in the third quarter, and I'm listening to Reggie Miller talk about Joel Embiid and how out of shape he is. Now, I know people will talk immediately about the knee injury. How can he stay in shape if he's got a knee injury? Well, you can eat better, for one. There's other versions of cardio you could do. And it's not like he just started playing 30 minutes recently. He's been playing 30 minutes on average pretty regularly since now he's come back. And we've talked about that over the last handful of games. 37 points the other night, plays over 30 minutes. Great to see that from Joel Embiid. You want more of that from Joel Embiid. Tonight, he goes out there and he's able to log for you again 31 minutes, gets you 28 points, but 15 of those 28 points came when the game was far out of hand in that third quarter already, while the Warriors were on their way to building a 20-point lead, then later a 25, and then, of course, the 34 in which they won by. Numbers never lie. That is what it is. Those are the numbers for tonight, but it's very deceptive as to what he actually did for the Sixers tonight. Where was that spark? Where was that enthusiasm? Where was that aggressiveness in the first half when it was kind of a game? When he at least pulled into a 33-33 tie in that second quarter? Not the game was tied. In the quarter, it was tied. We showed a little bit of fight. Where was that in maybe getting the Sixers over the hump? Well, there was one instance in particular, and this leads into my number 2, which is really Steph Curry before it's any other 76er. There was one sequence in the second quarter that drove me absolutely crazy, and Joel Embiid is still in the middle of this. But there was about 2:55 remaining in the game, and it was the second time that Joel Embiid tried to drive on Draymond Green. Now, this time he actually got the end one. The end one was courtesy also of a goaltend, but Embiid did get fouled. He went to the line. It was only a 10-point game at this time. So Embiid made this play happen. I'm thinking, all right, maybe this is the quarter being put in the machine for Joel Embiid. They then go down the other end of the floor. It's 2:25 left in the second quarter. Yeah, second quarter. Kuminga goes up there. He misses a three. The ball bounces between, I think it was Joel Embiid, Kyle Lowry, and Caleb Martin, but right in front of Joel Embiid. And who swoops in to get the rebound but Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins then hits Steph Curry on the perimeter, foul line extended for a second chance three-point opportunity. Bing, bang, boom. Steph Curry knocks it down, makes it a 63-50 game. Then you have a Caleb Martin bad pass that gets picked off. Wiggins ends up going the other way with it, driving baseline on Joel Embiid, who had been playing actually good around as a rim protector in the game. Wiggins goes right by him on the baseline, puts it in for the easy layup. Just like that, you went from a 10-point deficit to a 15-point deficit, and it was almost a push-button offense for the Warriors after that. Where it's just, this game's getting a little too close for comfort. Within 10 points, no problem. Activate Steph Curry being perfect tonight. And that brings me in here to number 2. Steph Curry playing as well as he did tonight. How incredible he played tonight. I mean, that's just the Steph Curry that we know. 30 points tonight, 8 for 8 from beyond the arc, 11 for 15 from the floor overall. Did not make one trip to the free throw line. First time in his career he's got a perfect 8 for 8. As I mentioned, it's also the second best shooting from beyond the arc without a miss. 9 for 9 is the mark. He was 8 for 8 tonight. At one point, I thought he was going to hoist that 9th three. He did not. Despite the fact that the Sixers were getting their tails beat, Steph Curry goes off the court. They catch him and Steve Kerr having that conversation. And Steve Kerr is like, this is the first time you've ever actually come out of the game where you've been red hot. So thank you. Even though you did bank that last three. He's just Steph Curry. And the Sixers allowed the Steph Curry Golden State Warriors to go out there tonight and look like they were the 2015 Warriors. This was a 16-16 Golden State team. This was a team that just got beat up by the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Sixers were coming off a back-to-back. And when you talk about a team playing on a back-to-back, it's the second leg of a back-to-back for them. They'll probably be tired. They'll probably be dragging a little bit. Your biggest concerns about your team coming off on a second game of a back-to-back, the second leg of a back-to-back, this is what you worry about. What you saw tonight. Steph Curry was great, not taking anything away from him. Joel Embiid, hollow numbers. Steph Curry, number 2, how great he was. Number 3 for me was your worst fears about your team playing the second leg of a back-to-back. You experienced them tonight with the 76ers. Without question, you experienced them tonight. They come out for the game. First thing you see is an errant pass from Tyrese Maxey to Paul George that hits him in the head. Paul George, by the way, finished with 19 points. So there's that. And, hey, only 2 personal fouls. Hey, there you go. My biggest takeaway from the game is not a lot of fouls for Paul George. But the ball hits him in the head. Not ideal. Then 2 possessions later, Joel Embiid, in football you'd call it a worm burner. But like Kyle Lowry, how tall is Kyle Lowry? Like 4'8"? Well, Joel Embiid threw a pass that was too low for Kyle Lowry, and that ended up going the other way for a Kuminga 3, I believe it was. So the Sixers couldn't, like, Tyrese Maxey in the second quarter misses 2 layups. What? Like, layups, not like, they were highly contested. He missed layups. Gershon Yabusele was your only, your only beacon of hope in the first half. He had 8 points in 6 minutes in the early goings when he checked in. He pulled down some rebounds for you. 6 rebounds in total, 13 points overall, 31 minutes. Good Lord. It was pathetic. You made the Warriors look like another 70-win team when they just notched their 17th win of the season. Your worst fears of your team playing the second leg of a back-to-back were realized tonight. And that's not an excuse. That's saying, even by the standard of acknowledging a back-to-back, so what? 34-point loss to the Warriors. Joel Embiid barely showing up in the first half. Tyrese Maxey coming away tonight, 14 points on 4 of 13 shooting. There are plenty of times where you can look at a basketball game and just say, well, they didn't make their shots. Okay, yeah, that and just sloppiness from the – and it wasn't even like turnovers were a terrible thing for the Sixers tonight. They were pretty even when it came to the Warriors. The Sixers had 11 turnovers tonight. The Warriors had 11 turnovers, so dead even tonight. But just mental mistakes, missed shots, bad passes, stuff like that just showed this team looked like they were every ounce of ready to come back east. And they're not even returning home yet. They got to go to Brooklyn after this and play the Nets on Saturday. It was absolutely pathetic. And I think that's a record for my longest open. When we come back, we'll highlight a couple of the other things that went wrong in this Sixers game tonight, unfortunately. In particular, one exchange that went on in the third quarter that just kind of, let you know that this game was not to be had for the Sixers. That's when we return. One particular instance, and yes, as one would assume, it has to center around Steph Curry. We're back in a second. This is Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On 76ers postcast. Hey, believe it or not, sometimes going to games are fun and stuff. And I know throughout the holidays, I was looking for tickets on the Game Time app for my friends and family. I love going to live sporting events, whether it's sports, actually, whether it's music, whether it's even the theater, comedy. I'm a big fan of comedy, love comedy shows. One of my favorite memories, actually, attending a concert last year, just being in the energy of all that. And thanks to the Game Time app, I knew I got a great deal on that unforgettable experience. Now, the Game Time app has made it even easier to get tickets for your favorite events with their new feature, Game Time Picks. This feature filters out all the fluff so you could see the incredible deals they have to offer on great seats. So you literally don't have to scroll through thousands of tickets. For the holidays, as I said, I was trying to get my parents' tickets, my brother tickets, and I was using the Game Time app to do so. Game Time Picks, you can find the amazing deals that are hard to find elsewhere. Super Deal was particularly impressive, offering great seats at unbeatable prices. Plus, the app's all-in pricing feature shows the total cost up front, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. How many times have you gone to buy tickets and then you go to checkout and go, whoa, how do these $20 tickets become $30? Whoa, what's this inconvenience fee? Yeah, that's right. Pun intended. Inconvenience fee. Well, when you toggle the all-in pricing feature, you know exactly what you're paying upon checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONNBA. That's promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the redemption code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA. For $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. As always, let me know in the comment section as well if you guys think that Joel Embiid's numbers were hollow. Tell me the number one reason why the Sixers lost this game tonight. And I still think the Sixers team is making the playoffs. Now, I have to remind people that making the playoffs is not high praise in the NBA. Where's this Sixers team headed? And with the news of Jimmy Butler, one more question for you. With the news of Jimmy Butler now seeming like he's broadening his horizons as far as where he would want to be traded, would you involve Paul George for Jimmy Butler? Would you make that trade? You know the Heat are going to ask for Maxey. We all know that's not happening. Would you pull the trigger on that move? I'd pull the trigger on that move. The only thing that gives me hesitation is what the relationship would be like with Joel Embiid. We'll talk about that more in a second. But first, let me deliver on what I told you before the break, and that is in the third quarter, 6-12 in the third quarter, in the midst of Joel Embiid dropping 15 points. He hit a three. And that three made it an 83-68 game. So it already wasn't going the Sixers' way, as we already know. Caleb Martin, after a defensive rebound down the other end for the Sixers, they come up the court. Caleb Martin finds the ball in his hands in the corner. Caleb Martin passes up on the corner three opportunity, pump fakes with just about nobody around. He drives baseline, and with an opportunity to give the Sixers here a little bit of a 5-point swing, a little bit of an opportunity to get something going, Caleb Martin gets blocked by Draymond Green driving the baseline. The next 2 possessions, the Warriors, without the Sixers scoring, so that little 3-point run, if you want to call it that, with the 3-point made by Joel Embiid, it doesn't even matter. Martin's shot gets blocked, goes down the other end, and I'm thinking, maybe this is where Steph Curry, this is where he misses. He doesn't. On the next 2 possessions, he knocks in 2 threes. The second one was banked. That was the second one that was banked. So just when you thought maybe a little 5-point swing here, it's actually a 6-point swing the other way, so an 11-point swing in total. Good God, man. Embiid finishes that quarter with 13 points. Sixers end up losing the quarter. Of the 26 points scored in that quarter, Joel Embiid for the Sixers had 15 of them. It was 35-26 in favor of the Golden State Warriors. And at the end of it, they had built their largest lead of the night, which was 25 points, which, of course, only escalated to 34. I know I've said that a couple times. I'm just doing the math at the end of the game there. Let me make sure I have the right number for you there. 36. Excuse me. 36 points was the largest lead of the night. I knew things were going to go completely awry when I looked up in the first quarter and I saw, and I'm not knocking him. I understand KJ Martin's out. I understand Kelly Oubre's out. Eric Gordon's still getting into the swing of things. But Jeff Doughton Jr. comes into play in the first quarter. Now, Ricky Council had been getting some first quarter run, and he did, I think he did again tonight. But when I looked up and I saw Reggie Jackson in the game, I saw Jeff Doughton Jr. in the game, I saw Ricky Council the fourth of the game, which is not abnormal to see him getting early minutes in games. But when I saw that, I went, this is where we're at now. This is going to be a very long night. That was my first indicator that it was going to be a very long night. Also, the Sixers losing the first quarter by 16 points in total kind of told you where the night was going. But when I saw that that's where we are at the end of the bench, one thing I was happy about seeing was that at least Paul George did give it a go. I know he got injured or banged out. I shouldn't even say injured, but he got hurt in the second quarter of last night's game against the Kings, and then was still able to finish the game, play the third quarter, play the fourth quarter as well, and had some very errant passes in the fourth quarter of last night's game. But I was at least happy to see on the back-to-back. I was questioning whether or not Paul George would be available for tonight's game. Obviously, he was. Not a terrible performance by him. I saw him at least trying to rip rebounds. I saw him at least trying to knock down threes. I didn't think the effort was bad from him tonight in particular. And overall, just statistically speaking, seeing him at least get to actually 1 point over his average with Joel Embiid in the lineup, I thought was a good thing, but did not stuff the stat sheet throughout the night. 32 minutes played for him. I'm more looking at minutes played for him as he continues to get in the game shape. Same thing with Joel Embiid, but far cry from that tonight, unfortunately. Watching this game develop, you needed somebody to step up, and unfortunately, it wasn't going to be Joel Embiid. It wasn't going to be Tyrese Maxey, another rough night of shooting for him, unfortunately. And the pace in which the Warriors were throwing down threes was unfathomable. 8 for 8 for Steph Curry. I've mentioned that before. As a team, they made 22 of 39 for 56, just under 56.5% from beyond the arc. They ain't keeping up with it. In the first quarter, the Sixers were 0 for 7 from 3. 7 different players attempted 3-point shots. All of them missed. Everyone was 0 for 1 who attempted a 3 in the first quarter. On the other side of things, Steph Curry, 8 for 8. Draymond Green, 1 for 5. I actually did love when Draymond Green hit his 1-3 in the game, pointed at the Sixers bench, how dare you leave me open, and then missed his next 4 threes. That was one little piece of joy I got. Andrew Wiggins knocked down a 3. Dennis Schroeder, who was he was really helping get them started early in the game. He was 3 for 4 from beyond the arc. Jonathan Kuminga was out there. He was 2 for 3. Lindy Waters was 2 for 4. Moses Moody, 4 for 5. Buddy Hield, our old friend, 1 for 5. That's the way that went out there tonight. When we come back, we'll take one more look at that idea of Jimmy Butler potentially, getting moved. We'll tell you exactly what he had to say and what it would look like for the 76ers to bring him back here and what could be the actual thing that is not making him put the Sixers on his short list. Short list has been out there. Sixers haven't been on it. Talk about that when we return. This is Locked On Sports Philadelphia, the Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On 76ers postcast. Back after this. I hope you guys are having fun with the amazing people of FanDuel. FanDuel's absolutely incredible. NFL playoffs just around the corner. It's not too late to get in on the regular season action on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's right. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up the W. Love betting on the anytime touchdowns, the parlays, all the great odds you could get in on right now. Quentin Mitchell's still getting the second best odds for Defensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL. Be crossing my fingers for that. You can also talk about which players are going to score that touchdown, how many points each team will give up, and so much more. Just visit FanDuel.com and join today. That's FanDuel.com to join today. I saw the Browns are a plus 19.5 against the Ravens to finish things up for the regular season. I dare you. You want to take 19.5? Go for it. And make sure you do it on FanDuel. FanDuel.com for your chance to win $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. I need to know if you want Jimmy Butler here in Philadelphia. I would love to see Jimmy Butler back here in Philly. I have told the story many times I have prophesized many times how I feel like a lot of people that even supported a brief process run, like I wasn't a Hinkyite, but I believed in, you know what, tear it down, build it back up. I have prophesized that one day I will tell my grandkids that Jimmy Butler is the one that totally derailed the process. The fact that Elton Brand made so many trades in the early goings of that season, one was Jimmy Butler, and then the second one that he made before the deadline was Tobias Harris. And after giving up assets, he figured, I got to sign one of these guys. Jimmy Butler didn't want to be here for whatever reason. Ben Simmons, Brett Brown. Jimmy Butler then decided, all right, well, they're going to end up paying Tobias Harris over me, so I'm going to go to Miami. Deuces. He goes to Miami. And the famous quote is born after he comes back to Philadelphia, Tobias Harris over me. There is no more tenacious player in the NBA that wants to win more than Jimmy Butler. I'm a Jimmy Butler guy. Jimmy Butler's now 35 years old. Jimmy Butler can still score. Jimmy Butler can still get to the basket. Jimmy Butler can still shoot from the outside. And he can still be a rather controversial leader. I know that one of the stories that gets talked about is the friendship between Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler. I don't know if Jimmy Butler is as big a fan right now of Joel Embiid as he once was when he was playing here in Philadelphia. Because let's not forget, the last time these guys played together, Joel Embiid was still an up-and-coming player waiting to reach his full potential. Jimmy Butler goes into that playoff series against the Raptors. And what was it, Game 3? Joel Embiid couldn't play because of gastroenteritis. He's arguing for the ball with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is supposed to be the point guard. Brett Brown made the wise decision and right decision to say, no, Jimmy Butler's going to run the offense. Everybody else just fill your role. I wonder if Jimmy Butler, and the interesting thing is that he wasn't on the Sixers short list. I find it interesting that he wasn't, and is it because of what Joel Embiid has become, which is a guy that you just can't count on. I mean, Jimmy Butler's no fool, and he knows Joel Embiid rather well. Is Jimmy Butler looking at this situation going, well, I love Joe, but I can't depend on him. What am I going to do, go back to that? No, I want to go to a team that I know is going to contend. Yeah, if Joel Embiid is in shape and he is healthy, then the sky's the limit for this team. But that's a huge if. If we know that, Jimmy Butler definitely knows that. So maybe that's why the Sixers weren't originally on his list. Then there's the back and forth with the media recently about discovering your happiness. trying to rediscover my joy for the game. He enjoys Miami off the court because that's hard, apparently. But on the court, oh, he's looking for his joy. Where's my joy? Where did I put my joy? I can't find my joy. I think it's going to be a hard sell for Jimmy Butler to go from a team that's a couple games over 500 in Miami to a team like the 76ers that is struggling to keep their head, first off, struggling to stay healthy, and second, try to keep their head above water anyway by just being good enough. I don't think Jimmy Butler is going to be settling for that. I think if he's going to be going anywhere, he's going to want to go somewhere where he really knows he has a shot at winning a championship. Unfortunately, that's the way I see that one playing out. I don't see him coming here to Philadelphia. The 76ers are going to be back at it Saturday night, 6 o'clock, when they're going to be taking on the Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn. They do not return home. They do return to the East Coast. Hopefully that's enough. But yes, it's a 6 o'clock tip-off. Yours truly will be there for you. Right after that one, hopefully seeing the Sixers get back on the winning side of things. After 9 of their last 12 wins, 10 of their last 14, they've now dropped 2 in a row. And the last 52 minutes of Sixer basketball has rivaled the process era. And then you did not have Joel Embiid. You did not have Tyrese Maxey. You did not have Paul George. But you had an epic collapse in the final 3 minutes and 34 seconds against the Kings, where you got outscored on a 15-0 run, and then you were losing by as much as 36 points to the Golden State Warriors. So, yeah, it hasn't been a fun 52 minutes of Sixers basketball, to say the absolute least. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great as per usual. We'll be back with you guys Saturday night following the 6 o'clock tip-off with the Sixers and Nets. Have a great night, everyone. See you on Saturday. Bye.